Hey, what's up you guys? Bloody Jacob here to bring you my weekly review.
Hey, what's up you guys? Bloody Jacob here, meeting my icon, Catherine Isabel here.
Across the streams of hopes and dreams where things are really not. Come along if you can. Come along if you dare.
Have a good one. Cheers, guys.
Side of your mind, but please realize you'll probably be surprised.
I just want to tell you something.
What do you want to tell me?
You are my girl.
I love you, Jimmy.
What is that?
It's okay, there's nothing here. I haven't heard a dog bark or a car pass. Nothing.
Hey, what's up you guys? Bloody Jacob here to bring you another horror movie review. This time we're going to be talking about 2008's The Strangers.
There's someone out there.
The Strangers, of course, being directed by Bryan Bertino and starring Liv Tyler as well as Scott Speedman. And now this movie currently has a sequel playing in theaters, Strangers Pray at Night. I do plan on seeing that at some point, not sure how soon though, but I definitely do at some point during its theatrical run. And so The Strangers is one I've heard about here and there, for a while now. And with the sequel coming out, I figured now would be the time to actually watch it. So I bought the DVD for about $5 on Amazon, the unrated version I watched. So yeah, and the premise of it is fairly basic. Liv Tyler and Scott Speedman play a couple who have just left a wedding of one of their friends. And during that time, Scott Speedman's character James had proposed to Liv Tyler's character Kristen, except Kristen actually said, no, she rejected the proposal. We don't fully know why, but she said she wasn't ready, and that's obviously, brought their evening and night down quite a bit. So they go back to this summer home they had or something. Yep. James's childhood summer home. And James is going to be getting a ride from his friend in the morning who's probably out drinking, probably passed out maybe, so they're kind of just sitting around in silence, and that's when we see these masked group of three just sort of slowly stalking around the house, and just slowly building this fear and paranoia as it goes. Eventually, breaking in a certain way and really just, toying with them as much as possible. So that's basically the premise of it. I just want to start off the bat. Both Liv Tyler and Scott Speedman gave pretty good performances in this movie. Not a lot is said, especially early on. But they both do really well with their eyes. Scott Speedman in particular felt, actually pretty relatable because, of course, he's the one who got his marriage proposal turned down. So you do feel for him a little bit. With Liv Tyler, I didn't really, connect to her as much. I do think they could have explained their issues or something, or it was just something she wasn't, ready for, I guess, personally. But I do think Scott Speedman did a pretty good job, and Liv Tyler, she's a pretty good actress herself, so I think she still, sold what emotion she was having as well. And of course, as the night goes along, she sort of starts rethinking her decision because of the life or death situation they're in. So I like that, you know. It's a very condensed horror film. It all takes place in this summer home and the woods surrounding it. And the main thing I loved about this, or well, I don't know if I should say loved, but the main thing I did really like and appreciate about this movie, that I appreciate about still some here and there over the years, is that it relied almost completely on suspense. You know, there's not much gore, there's not much blood. There is here and there. It's nothing more built around the suspense and just the building paranoia and fear as Liv Tyler especially, slowly, grows more and more fearful of what's going on. So I really like that actually, built that suspense and didn't rely on just, slasher violence, which I guess the sequel turns more to from what I've heard. But we'll see when I eventually see that at some point down the road. So I love that. I love that it actually tried to build like a natural horror instead of just relying on gross out or something, As far as movies I've seen recently that I could compare it to, I think of The Pact with Katie Loss that I reviewed not too long ago, which also relied on a similar way of building actual fear. Though I would argue that Strangers perhaps was slightly better with it. Now, is this a perfect movie? No. There's not much wrong with it, though. But, my ratings are based on both my critical view of it and my personal enjoyment. And, I did like this one. Except I did feel like the ending left a little bit to be desired for me. Although it's one of the ones that was a little more grim than what other ones are willing to go for, which I did appreciate. Just there wasn't, that kind of climax I was looking for, but there wasn't much in terms of, like, explosive, violence, like I said, which is something I appreciated, but there's never any scene or, like, a kill that really felt like, ooh, or you really, like, felt the devastation of that, really. Except just with how grim the ending actually is, but then it got a little bit weird for me, with the final scene, too. Which we'll talk about maybe in a couple minutes. It doesn't feel too long, though. It held my attention for the most part throughout. It's only about 85 minutes, which is really short compared to how long films usually are. This did come out in 2008, though, but still. It only had a $9 million budget, which, of course, a lot of horror movies don't really take much to make. But still, that's a lot cheaper compared to, like, the 60-40 million that seems to be like cheap in some people's eyes nowadays, or like the $90-200 million budgets we see in big blockbusters. It's very focused. It's a very like I said, condensed film, appropriately so. Now I guess I can as far as like the actors who played the group of the masked group here, they're fine. We don't really get to know them very much or anything. They just have this mystique and just eeriness about them, which again I liked. And the director did a nice job. The camera work was really nice in the movie. That's something else I really liked. Because we see the man in the mask, the sort of presumably leader of them, the one with the suit. Just the way they shoot it when he's just standing behind Liv Tyler's character, and you just see him standing there and then just slowly sort of go back around the corner. Again, that contributed to the feel the movie did have. The girl who played, let me see. Yeah, I'm not sure which one this was. Okay, yeah, it would have to be Dollface, the younger blonde who had shown up at the door and kept asking if someone was there. The blonde in the thumbnail. She is pretty creepy as well. We don't really see much of the other one. I almost forgot about the other one at points, but I did like the man in the mask and Dollface for sure. And also his friend does come around a little bit earlier than James, Scott Spoon's character, expects him to. And he had told Liv Tyler's character that he had hunted with his father when he was a kid, but he didn't, so he didn't know how to use the gun in the house. But that was kind of odd because he almost makes some pretty good shots. But he doesn't know how to load it that fast. And then when his friend does show up earlier and unexpected, they're holding down this doorway, and the friend comes around the corner and just, of course, shoots right away, and then he ends up killing his friend, which is, a pretty good moment in the movie, and another time where I felt for Scott Speedman's character, I suppose. I said I didn't love the ending. I appreciate that I went for a more realistic outcome to this. They actually end up both tied to a chair by morning, and they're both basically just stabbed to death. Which is, it's kind of a grim ending. But not everything's gonna work out. There's not gonna always be that final girl who manages to kill them all somehow, James Scott Speedman is killed first, and then she's stabbed a couple times as well, and they're kind of just left to bleed out basically until these kids passing out religious stuff end up getting to the house and finding him, and the killers probably stop on the road with their masks off, but we never actually see their faces that well, which is probably a good thing. Sometimes I do like knowing something about the killers, making them relatable, or sometimes sympathize with them in a way, but I know a lot of people also appreciate the mystique and sort of like the unknown, though they're just psychopaths just because, they're just doing this just because. Like they said, it creates they said in the movie, they ask why they're doing this, and I think it was Pin-Up Girl that says, "You were home." So depending on my mood, I'm in the mood for like more detailed killers, and other times just in the mood for psychopaths who are just doing it just cause. And that's the case here. But the kids end up getting to the house, and they find them all dead, but Liv Tyler, she's somehow still crawling, and she wakes up screaming. So I guess she somehow survived, which I didn't really buy. But it was still alright, still, I guess, a more realistic ending than other horror films go for, so I did kind of like it, I suppose. But The Strangers, I really appreciate a lot of things about it. Something about it's just holding me back from saying I loved it, though. There's nothing quite, there's nothing quite amazing about it to me, I guess. But it's definitely a very respectably made film for sure, and it definitely took an approach that, again, I appreciated. And I do like when James is crawling around the woods at night, with the gun, but then they're cornered by the cars and everything, and then you just see the quick shot of the man in the mask with the suit, just running towards him to knock him out, before we see James, not until the end of the movie. This is still a very solid horror film, though. I definitely recommend seeing it. It sounds like the sequel's a lot different, but I will check it out at some point. As of right now, I'm giving The Strangers a B. So, let me guys thought about the first Strangers film. Let me know how the sequel is. No spoilers, though. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, like, subscribe. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.